For the live streaming, good morning, everyone. My name is Sandra Shaman-Burke, and I'll be your Facebook Live host today from Fleet-based West in Rockingham in Western Australia for the commissioning of HMAS Stalwart. Please enjoy the ceremony. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sandra Shaman-Burke, and I'll be your Facebook Live host today from Fleet-based West in Rockingham in Western Australia for the commissioning of HMAS Stalwart. Please enjoy the ceremony.
Morning.
Good morning and welcome to the commissioning ceremony of new ship Stalwart. The tradition of commissioning a ship predates the formation of the first European Royal Navies. In the days before they had their own fleets, royalty would charter or commission ships from private owners to sail off and fight troublesome neighbours or in search of new trade routes and possible riches. Commissioning a fighting force allows them to receive campaign and battle honours. Today's ceremony is even more significant when you consider the last ship to be commissioned in Western Australia was HMAS Stalwart on the 13th of December 2011. The operational life of a warship is measured by the time it spends in commission. Some ships enjoy long, sustained commissions, while the lives of other ships and submarines are punctuated by several shorter commissions, usually due to major refits or docking cycles. What all ships have in common is that when they are in commission, they fly a distinctive white pennant with a red St. George's cross on it at the masthead to indicate their status. Known as the commissioning pennant, it is a visual indicator that the ship is in service, and it is normally only displaced by a royal standard, a senior officer's broad pennant, or distinguishing flag. New ship Stalwart III is the second of two supply class auxiliary oiler replenishment ships built for the Royal Australian Navy by Spanish shipbuilder Navantia. The Australian supply class ships are based on the Spanish Navy's Cantabria class design. The ships are intended to carry fuel, dry cargo, water, food, ammunition, equipment, and spare parts to provide operational support for the deployed naval or combat forces operating far from port for longer periods. In addition to replenishment, the ships can be used to combat against environmental pollution at sea, provide logistic support for the armed forces, and to support humanitarian and disaster relief operations following a natural disaster. New ship Stalwart was laid down on the 25th of November 2018 and then launched at the Navantia shipyards in Spain on the 30th of August 2019. She is 173.9 meters in length, has a maximum speed of 20 knots, a range of 13,000 kilometers, and has the capacity to carry 1,450 cubic meters of aviation fuel, 8,200 cubic meters of marine diesel fuel, 1,400 cubic meters of fresh water, 270 tons of ammunition, and 470 tons of provisions. New ship Stalwart is the third Royal Australian Navy ship to bear the name. HMAS Stalwart 1 was one of 55 S-class destroyers built for the British Admiralty under the Emergence Shipbuilding Programme of World War I. She commissioned into the Royal Navy as HMS Stalwart in April 1919 before being gifted to the Royal Australian Navy on the 27th of January 1920. She then served the Australian fleet from 1920 to 1925. HMAS Stalwart 2 was the largest naval vessel wholly designed and built in Australia. She was built by the Cockatoo Docks and Engineering Company Limited in Sydney. The destroyer tender was commissioned on the 9th of February 1968 and decommissioned on the 9th of March 1990. She had a complement of 25 officers and 392 sailors. And with the decommissioning of the aircraft carrier HMAS Melbourne, HMAS Stalwart 2 became the Royal Australian Navy's flagship, providing accommodation and administrative support for fleet staff and fleet band. We are indeed fortunate to have Mr. Enrique Terraso, who is the Spanish Honorary Consul in Perth, join us this morning. We also have Stalwart's ship sponsor, Commodore Stephanie Moles, and the Assistant Minister for Defence, Mr. Andrew Hastie, MP. A warm welcome to you all. Defence acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia. Defence recognises their continuing connection to traditional lands and waters and would like to pay respect to their elders, both past and present. Defence would also like to pay respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander men and women who have contributed to the defence of Australia in times of peace and war. I am Warrant Officer Jack Parnell, and I will be leading you through this morning's commissioning ceremony. We will formally welcome onto the parade 4 guests this morning. However, I will only ask you to stand and members in uniform to salute for the arrival of our guest of honour, the Governor of Western Australia, the Honourable Kim Beazley, AC. Please give a warm welcome to the Royal Australian Navy Band, Western Australia, under the direction of Lieutenant Matthew Close. To commence today's proceedings, our Parade Marshal, Chief Petty Officer Callum Blake, will give the order to march on Stalwart's Ship's Company.
Parade steady! March on Stalwart Ship's Company! By the rights! Quick! Parade! Into line, rights! Turn! By the centre, dress!
Would you please give a warm welcome to our Parade Commander, the Executive Officer of New Ship Stalwart, Lieutenant Commander Matthew Warren. Lieutenant Commander Warren joined the Navy from Hobart in 2002, commencing his studies at the Australian Defence Force Academy. He graduated in 2005 with a triple major in politics, management and history. Lieutenant Commander Warren has served in 9 ships throughout his career. He has fulfilled the roles as the Executive Officer and Navigator in HMAS ships Ararat and Peary, Executive Officer and Voyage Captain of STS Young Endeavour, the Navigator of HMAS Anzac, and Navigator and Operations Officer of HMAS Success. Lieutenant Commander Warren is a trained Principal Warfare Officer and is a specialist in navigation. Prior to his current position, he was the officer in charge of the School of Navigation Warfare at HMAS Watson. Our Parade Marshal, Chief Petty Officer Blake, will now hand over control of the commissioning to our Parade Commander, Lieutenant Commander Warren.
Very good.
We now welcome the Commissioning Guard, led by Guard Commander Lieutenant Lachlan Murray, who is one of Stalwart's maritime warfare officers and officers of the watch. Lieutenant Murray joined the Royal Australian Navy in January 2018 and has served on board Her Majesty Australian ships Adelaide, Diamantina and Sirius. The Commissioning Guard is made up of members from New Ship Stalwart.
March on the Commissioning Guard!
Halt! Guard into right hand. Guard on right left. Guard on to right. Guard open for left. Mark. Guard right left. Guard front right. Press forward 6. Front right. Wow. Front right steady. Guard, rear right. Press forward 7, rear right. Wow. Rear right steady. Guard, eyes front.
It is indeed an honour and privilege to be the first commanding officer of a new ship, especially one as impressive as New Ship Stalwart. We now welcome the commanding officer of New Ship Stalwart, Commander Steve McCracken, CSM. Commander McCracken joined the Navy in 1995, attending the Australian Defence Force Academy. Commander McCracken has served mainly in patrol boats and frigates, as well as a posting to Plymouth, Devon, in the United Kingdom with the Royal Navy. Professionally, Commander McCracken is trained as a Principal Warfare Officer and is a Specialist Navigation Officer. Recent experience includes roles as a Staff Officer in Operational and Strategic Level Headquarters and Australia Command and Staff College in 2015. Steve's breadth of experience has included roles in training, operations, and capability. In 2019, Commander McCracken was recognised in the Queen's Birthday Honours with a Conspicuous Service Medal for his work as Deputy Director Maritime Commitments in 2016-2017. Commander McCracken was selected as the Commissioning Commanding Officer of Stalwart 3 in 2019. Our Parade Commander, Lieutenant Commander Warren, will now report to his Commanding Officer, Commander McCracken, that the parade is formed and ready for the commissioning.
Stalwart Guard, Band, and Ship's Company on parade. Sir.
Very good. Stand the Guard, Band, and Ship's Company at ease.
Aye, aye, sir. Stalwart, stand at ace.
Guard, stand at ease.
Our first guest to arrive is our host, the Deputy Fleet Commander, Commodore Jonathan Early, CSC. Commodore Early is representing the Commander Australian Fleet, Rear Admiral Mark Hammond, who due to COVID restrictions is unable to be with us in person this morning. However, he is watching the ceremony via a live feed. As Deputy Fleet Commander, Commodore Early is responsible to the Commander Australian Fleet for leading and managing the Maritime Warfare Centre. Deputy Fleet Commander plays an important role in coordinating the outputs of force commanders and is responsible for the oversight, coordination and management of fleet command matters that span more than an individual force commander area. Upon the arrival of Commodore Early, he will be met by Commander McCracken and escorted to the dais, where he will receive a general salute from the Guard and musical honours from the band. We now await the arrival of our host representing the Commander Australian Fleet, Commodore Jonathan Early, Deputy Fleet Commander.
Stalwart! Ho! 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 Guard, general salute, present, arms. Guard, ho! Stalwart, stand at ace. Guard, stand at ace.
Our next guest to arrive is the Chief of the Royal Australian Navy, Vice Admiral Michael Noonan, AO. On arrival, Vice Admiral Noonan will receive a general salute from the Guard and musical honours from the band. Vice Admiral Noonan is accompanied this morning by Miss Samantha Highway. Vice Admiral Noonan was appointed Chief of the Royal Australian Navy on the 7th of July 2018. We now await the arrival of the Chief of the Royal Australian Navy.
Stalwart, ho! Guard, ho! Guard, general salute, present, arms. Guard, ho! Stalwart, stand at ace. Guard, stand at ace.
Our next guest to arrive is the Minister for Defence Industry, the Honourable Melissa Price MP, representing the Government of Australia. When Minister Price arrives, she will receive a general salute from the Guard and musical honours from the band. We now await the arrival of the Minister for Defence Industry.
Stalwart! Ho! God! Ho! God! General salute, present. Up. God! Ho! Stalwart! Stand at ease! God! Stand at ease!
Our next guest of honour this morning is the Governor of Western Australia, the Honourable Kim Beazley AC. Upon his arrival, the Governor will be met by Commodore Early and Commander McCracken and escorted to the dais, where he will receive a royal salute. The Governor will then be asked by the Guard Commander, Lieutenant Murray, to inspect the Guard. On the arrival of the Governor, I will ask you all to stand, and all Defence members in uniform are required to salute on the Guard Commander's orders. We now await the arrival of our guest of honour, the Governor of Western Australia.
Stalwart! Ho! God! Ho! God! Royal salute, present. Up. God! Ho!
Please be seated.
close. Mark. Turn, form, three, face. Turn, rise, yes.
Stalwart, stand at ease.
Guard, stand at ease.
To commence today's commissioning ceremony, I would like to invite Mr. Trevor Wally, Commander McCracken, and Able Seaman Barragood to come forward for the exchanging of gifts. The exchanging of gifts is a symbol of friendship and strengthens the bond and relationship between the Royal Australian Navy and the Indigenous community, and will be explained in more detail by Seaman Holroyd.
I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Noongar people, and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. I am Seaman MLS Jasmine Holroyd. Today, we recognize the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, and do this through an exchange between the Noongar people as the traditional owners and the ship as the newest member of the fleet. The significance of the exchange comes from Indigenous stories where ancestors return to the earth as spirits. These spirits make their way to the rivers and in turn the sea. And here on Garden Island is a special place for the Noongar people. For the Noongar people, it is traditional to exchange something, a gift, upon the arrival of friends. Today, the exchange of gifts between the ship and the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet is a sign of peace and respect. Conducting the exchange today is Mr. Trevor Wally and Able Seaman Boatswain's Mate Ronald Barragood.
Hello, good morning everyone. I'm from the Noongar people and I speak my language and we say Ngans Nija Nanok Kulinga Buja. So I'm here with you today. Ngans Nija Nanok Kulinga Buja. Buja Bujari Maman Wadan, the Father Ocean, Kumanak, the sun, Konk Mika, the moon, Nalak Jinda, our firstborn with the stars. So Ngans Nija Nanok Kulinga Buja, Buja Bujari, Maman Wadan, Gumanak, Nalak Jinda, Kaya. Welcome to the Noongar Buja, welcome to the Noongar country, and the birds and the animals and the plants and everything around us. Welcome you. Thank you very much. And have a good day. Thank you.
To commence the order of service, I invite Commodore Early to the lectern to make his welcoming address. On completion, Commodore Early will present Commander McCracken with New Ship Stalwart's commissioning order and direct him to read it.
Good morning. The Honourable Kim Beazley, AC, Governor of Western Australia. Minister for Defence Industry, the Honourable Melissa Price, MP. The Assistant Minister of Defence, the Honourable Andrew Hastie, MP. Vice Admiral Michael Noonan, AO, REN, Chief of Navy, and Mr. Trevor Wally, Elder of the Noongar people. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and water on which we are meeting here today and pass my respects to their elders, both past, present and emerging, as well as all other Australian First Nation peoples represented here today. I warmly welcome you to the commissioning ceremony of the Royal Australian Navy's second supply class auxiliary oiler replenishment ship, Her Majesty's Australian ship, Stalwart. As the Deputy Fleet Commander, I'm privileged to be here today on behalf of Commander Australian Fleet to host this commissioning ceremony to introduce this magnificent ship to the fleet. Thank you for attending this significant event here at Fleet Base West, the home port for HMAS Stalwart. In commissioning here today, Stalwart joins HMAS ships Choules, Rankin and Duchesneau as the ships and submarines who've been commissioned in Western Australia in the past 20 years, reaffirming the importance of the relationship between the Royal Australian Navy and Western Australia. Today marks the beginning of what will be a long and prosperous history for Stalwart. Stalwart will be the third Royal Australian Navy ship to bear the name after the S-class destroyer HMAS Stalwart 1 and the single-class destroyer tender HMAS Stalwart 2. As such, not only do we welcome a new crew, but also the legacy they have inherited into our family. One of the key truths of naval service is that Navy existed before us and will certainly endure well after us. We are custodians of the history passed to us by our forebearers and burdened with the duty to build Navy stronger for the generations that will follow. The history of the Navy encompasses courage across every ocean over more than 100 years of service to our nation. We, collectively, are made up of the tens of thousands of individual stories of the men and women who served on ships, submarines, aircraft, and teams. And we will continue this service to our country and its people, and we are honoured with the duty of strengthening that reputation. Over the past few months, Stalwart has been firmly focused on delivering the Navy's mission to the Australian people and continuing to strengthen our reputation. Stalwart has exemplified the defence values of service, courage, respect, integrity and excellence, and demonstrated an understanding on board that prioritises the interests of this country and its people. I'm confident that you will continue to grow from strength to strength. The journey to today's commissioning has been long, arduous and unpredictable. Today we celebrate the day the crew takes charge of the newest commissioned ship in the Royal Australian Navy. We must, however, also recognise this was a journey we could not have undertaken without the support of our partners. Today marks the culmination of many months of hard work and perseverance from the crew and staff across the Navy, the entire Australian Defence Organisation, industry and our continued relationship with Navantia. While you are currently not surrounded by all of these people right now, they have stood alongside you every step of the way from key laying to commissioning, and this is their day too. To the crew members of HMAS Stalwart, your journey is only just beginning. Embrace your history and embrace the legacy that you carry forward. You will operate in an increasingly challenging and complex maritime environment. Ensure you strive each day to make your loved ones in Australia proud by facing your daily endeavours in a manner befitting of your legacy. Finally, enjoy the day today as we welcome Stalwart into the Australian fleet, and may you continue to have a heart of oak.
Commander McCracken will now read his commissioning order.
HMAS Stalwart Commissioning Order. The Chief of Navy, Vice Admiral Michael Joseph Noonan, Officer of the Order of Australia, Royal Australian Navy, has directed Her Majesty's Australian ship Stalwart be commissioned at Fleet Base West, Western Australia, on the 13th day of November 2021. Consequently, you are to proceed to commission the ship for service in the Royal Australian Navy in accordance with this order and any orders and instructions issued by higher authorities. On commissioning, Her Majesty's Australian Ship Stalwart will be under the complete authority of Commander Australian Fleet. You are to bring to my notice any dissatisfaction you have with regard to the state of preparedness, discipline and welfare of the ship's company, or with the general state of the ship. May God's blessing be upon the ship and her company hereby entrusted into your command. And may your joint endeavour to uphold the finest traditions of the Royal Australian Navy in the service of Her Majesty the Queen be met with success and good fortune. Given under my hand this 13th day of November 2021. Signed, MD Hammond, AM, Rear Admiral, RAN, Commander Australian Fleet.
Commodore Early will now present Commander McCracken with Stalwart's commissioning Australian White Ensign and commissioning pennant. Commander McCracken will now hand over Stalwart's Australian White Ensign and commissioning pennant to his ensign party, who will then take them on board in preparation of the commissioning. We have now come to that time in the ceremony where we pray and bless all those who will serve on board New Ship Stalwart. I ask that all gentlemen remove your hats. Parade Commander, prepare the parade.
Stalwart, ho!
On, ho! And ho!
Stalwart, off! Caps! Stalwart, stand at ease.
God stand at ease.
Stalwart, stand easy.
To commence our service, I invite Chaplain Luke Elkhausen to lead us in prayer.
The commands of duty lay upon us both opportunities and risks. Therefore, it is appropriate to take a few moments in this ceremony to pause and reflect on the moral, ethical, and spiritual aspects of what this ship and her crew may be called on to undertake in an uncertain future. In this part of the commissioning service, we acknowledge the beliefs of those present today are more diverse, and we acknowledge this diversity as a fundamental strength of our society and embrace that strength. I invite you to join in to the extent that you feel comfortable. You may prefer to spend this time with your own reflections or prayers for this ship and the crew who will bring her to life. Whether by silent reflection or by seeking a blessing from God, our common aim is to see the men and women of the Navy sustained in the performance of our duty. Our hope is that this ship and crew may serve with distinction and honour for the advancement of our Commonwealth and the well-being of all peoples. Join with me in prayer. Heavenly Father, I ask for your blessing over the crew of New Ship Stalwart, over the family members, partners, friends, and all in attendance, as we give thanks for this opportunity to welcome Stalwart into the Royal Australian Navy. Amen.
Would you all please stand for the singing of the naval hymn, Eternal Father, Strong to Save, which will be led by leading seaman Kirsten Robinson.
Eternal Father, strong to save, whose arm hath bound the restless wave, who beats the mighty ocean deep, its own appointed limits keep. Oh, hear us when we cry to thee, for those in peril on the sea. O Trinity of love and power, our brethren shield in danger's hour, from rock and tempest, fire and foe, protect them wheresoe'er they go. Thus evermore shall rise to thee glad hymns of praise from land and sea.
Please be seated. The Lord's Prayer will now be led by able seaman Kenny Superall.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
The Naval Psalm, Psalm 107, will be led by Chaplain Elkhausen.
I would now like to lead us in the Naval Psalm and invite you all to join with me in saying the parts that are in bold print. Some went down to the sea in ships, doing business on the great waters. They saw the deeds of the Lord, his wondrous works in the deep. For he commanded and raised the stormy wind, which lifted up the waves of the sea. They mounted up to heaven. They went down to the depths. Their courage melted away in their calamity. They reeled and staggered like drunkards and were at their wits' end. Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he brought them out of their distress. He made the storm be still, and the waves and sea were hushed. Then they were glad because they had quiet, and he brought them to their desired haven. Let them thank the Lord for his steadfast love and his wonderful works to humankind. Let them extol him in the congregations of the people and praise him in the assembly of the elders. Let those who are wise give heed to these things and consider the steadfast love of the Lord.
There will now be a gospel reading from St. Matthew's by Petty Officer Lauren Birch.
Jesus stills the storm, and when he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. A windstorm arose on the sea, so great the boat was being swamped by the waves, but he was asleep. And they went and woke him up and saying, "Lord, save us, we are perishing." And he said to them, "Why are you afraid, you of little faith?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a dead calm. They were amazed, What sort of man is this, that even the winds and the seas obey him?
The prayer for the Navy will be read by the Chief of the Royal Australian Navy, Vice Admiral Michael Noonan, AO.
Eternal God, creator of the heavens and ruler of the raging seas, take under your powerful protection and bless all ships and members of the Royal Australian Navy. Preserve us from the dangers of the sea and strengthen us so that we may faithfully serve our Sovereign, Queen Elizabeth, and the people of the Commonwealth of Australia. With the help of others who love freedom, may we be able to ensure security for all those who lawfully travel the seven seas. And by our effort, maintain for all people the possibility of serving you in peace and justice all through their lives. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
The prayer for the ship will be read by leading seaman Ellen Story-Gregory.
Loving God, help us to live in peace and harmony as we serve our nation as members of this ship's company. Enable us to be worthy of those who sail with us and grant us a willing spirit to fulfill whatever duties may be given us. Strengthen our faith that we may all help one another in living diverse values of selfless service to our nation and to one another. Courage to place the interests of our nation and its people ahead of our own. May we be a force that respects and values others and always treat others with dignity and compassion. May we be force for integrity, that there is an alignment between our character and actions in the pursuit of ethical purposes. May we be force for excellence and a community that strives to be the best we can be in all circumstances. Amen.
The blessing of the ship will be conducted by Chaplain Elkhausen.
We dedicate and set apart this ship as a sign of our duty towards our country and the good principles upon which it stands. May God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit bless, direct, and prosper this ship and all who sail in her, now and always. Amen.
That brings us to the end of our church service, and the commissioning proper will now commence. I ask our parade commander, Lieutenant Commander Warren, to ready the parade.
Stalwart, standard, east. Stalwart, ho. Guard, ho. Stalwart, on, caps. Stalwart, standard, east. Stalwart, stand easy. Square row caps. Stalwart, ho.
We now wait for the call, 5 minutes to commissioning.
5 minutes to commissioning, sir. Very good.
We now approach the commissioning itself, when the Australian national anthem will be played as the Australian white ensign, commissioning pennant, and Australian national flag are slowly raised to officially commission new ship Stalwart.
Stalwart, about, done. Done, about, turn.
Very good.
Would you all please stand for the Australian National Anthem and the commissioning of New Ship Stalwart? I ask that all Defence members in uniform salute on the Guard Commander's orders during the playing of the National Anthem.
Make it so.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Stalwart, about done.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, HMAS Stalwart is now commissioned. Cruise ship is a form of salute, originally intended as a visual sign that your intent was peaceful, with the ship's company on deck, or in days of old, this meant your guns were not manned. The crew of HMAS Stalwart were no cruise ship and board their workplace and home on the high seas for the first time. Parade Commander.
HMAS Stalwart will crew ship. HMAS Stalwart, outwards, turn. HMAS Stalwart, by the left, quick! HMAS Stalwart, standard, ace.
Tie the band.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the ship's company of HMAS Stalwart. I now ask the parade commander to stand the ship's company at ease.
Stalwart, standard, ace.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to invite the Honourable Kim Beazley AC, Governor of Western Australia, to the lectern to make his address. Governor.
You've got no idea what a thrill this is. What a truly wonderful event to have the privilege to be at. I should, of course, start by acknowledging the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, on whose traditional lands we are now meeting, and pay my respects to their elders past and present, and thank Trevor Wally for his welcome to country, and to say how moving it was to see that exchange of gifts and that sense that that the crew and the ship will be at peace with the spirits of the land. Could I also acknowledge the Honourable Melissa Price MP, Minister for Defence Industry. She has the second best job in government. The Honourable Andrew Hasey MP, Assistant Minister for Defence, has the third best job in government. The Honourable Paul Papalia, CSC MLA, Minister for Police, Defence Industry and Veterans Issues. Commodore Jonathan Early, CSC RAN, Deputy Fleet Commander. Mr. Trevor Wally, representing the traditional landowners, as I said. But the fellow with genuinely the best job here today, Admiral Michael Noonan, who is Chief of Navy, and he's just seen added to his complement, his force posture, a truly magnificent ship. Could I also acknowledge Commander McCracken, who is the commanding officer, and acknowledge all his crew for the magnificent display they have shown us. And I had the privilege of being able to converse with one or two of them in the Guard, and they are so happy with the appointment that they have. I spoke to one fellow for whom this is his first ship, and he's been in the Navy for about a year or so. And I expressed the view to him that the Navy gods had smiled upon him, and he was in agreement that that was indeed the case. Could I acknowledge too, Mr. Jamie Strickland, who's the CEO of the Yamachi Southern Region Council, the Federal Member for Brand, Ms. Madeline King, Mayor of Rockingham, Deb Hamblin, and the Mayor of Geraldton, Councillor Shane Van Stone. You know, it's an honour to be here at the commissioning of the Stalwart, at a time when the strategic outlook speaks to the importance of defence preparedness and support to joint operations. We were created by sea power as a nation, and we sustain ourselves essentially with a maritime defence. Looking back, you look at the fact that the Royal Australian Navy is our senior service. We really chose to define ourselves by the Royal Australian Navy. There was a struggle. Should there be a Royal Australian Navy or a subset of the British Far East Fleet? That was a debate ultimately resolved by the political class of the time, and they established the Royal Australian Navy, and we felt when we got it, we were a nation. Then in World War II, or World War I, the Navy served. In World War II, the Navy was critical. We constructed, by ship numbers, the fourth largest navy in the world. MacArthur, the general who commanded all our services, was persecuted by Washington, largely by the naval commander. And the result of that was that he had no aircraft carriers under him until Leyte Gulf, and then they weren't really under his command. So therefore he did his island hopping measures. And guess who were the critical elements of every landing that then took place in a series of magnificent amphibious landings? The Royal Australian Navy. There were American ships there, but their numbers were overshadowed by those of the RAN. Stalwart is intermixed in this history. The first Stalwart was a destroyer that we acquired in the 20s. The second was a ship much beloved of me, I have to say, because it was the largest ship at that point of time that Australians had ever constructed for the Royal Australian Navy. And if you go through the list of commanders, you'll see people who arose to great fame in the Royal Australian Navy. I loved it in particular because you could hold a cabinet meeting on it. And you could not do that with any other ship in the Royal Australian Navy at that time. And I was determined to get the government on board for the 75th anniversary of the Navy. It was a total disaster. We got them on board the ship. Everybody was happy. They all wandered around chatting away to the crew, and then they put a table on board, a big one. And it wasn't a table that belonged to the ship. So we got it on board, and then we all sat round it, and then we went out the Sydney Heads. Unbelievably bad thing to do. The table moved towards the Prime Minister and threatened to pin him to a bulkhead. He swore profusely and pushed it away, and it did go away. And then it came back. And this to and fro movement, accompanied by much obscene abuse, continued for the best part of an hour when the cabinet meeting ended, and I was roundly abused by the Prime Minister, who said to me, "Listen, you fool, the cabinet meeting is the most important thing that we do. And we cannot have a table that threatens to kill the Prime Minister and various senior ministers during the course of a cabinet meeting. You should have prepared better." He was quite right. However, I suspect this wonderful ship will not be used for cabinet meetings. I used to look at the photographs of naval exercises when I was the Defence Minister, and the Navy was clearly in mourning for an aircraft carrier, because they'd treat the Stalwart as though it was an aircraft carrier, and they had range and guard around it of destroyers and frigates accordingly, so that the skills were still being exercised. Well, it's got 2 aircraft carriers now, so guess where the next cabinet meeting's going to be. But if I had had this as the place that I'd have had the cabinet meeting, I would have been so proud. This is such a beautiful, beautiful ship. It has the most superb lines. It has a superb crew. It is a ship of which the Navy is now very proud, and it will continue to be very proud. It is a ship of enormous value to a Navy that must cover vast distances, albeit in the defence of our approaches. So we have here before us a piece of history in the making, a history which has a long, noble tradition behind it, and it will keep us safe forever. That is what the Navy's task is, along with the other services. They will keep us safe forever.
It now gives me much pleasure to invite the Minister for Defence Industry, the Honourable Melissa Price MP, representing the Government of Australia, to make her address. Minister.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I'm surprised how emotional this morning has been. I don't know about other people, but I wasn't expecting it. And I think it was only once the crew got on top of the ship that I thought, wow, this is a really big event. You know, I'm just so thrilled to be here. So good morning, everyone. And yeah, I think it's a fabulous idea. I think the next cabinet meeting that we have in Western Australia could indeed be on HMAS Stalwart. So I'll put that in my memo back to the Prime Minister, Your Excellency. I won't go through the very long list of acknowledgements, but I do need to acknowledge my colleague Andrew Hastie, and particularly just want to acknowledge his son Jonathan, who's joined us here today. We start them early, don't we, Andrew? Good to see you. So good morning, everyone. So as the Minister for Defence Industry, it is a great honour to be here today for the commissioning of HMAS Stalwart, and also to celebrate her entry into the Australian Navy fleet. The first Stalwart was an S-class destroyer built for the British Navy and gifted to Australia at the end of the First World War. And it was during that war that the newly born Royal Australian Navy came into its own, working with our allies and establishing a tradition of courage and endurance that spanned the oceans of the world. The second Stalwart was a destroyer wholly built in Australia. It proudly served as the Navy's flagship and took part in a number of important humanitarian disaster relief operations during her time in the Commission. The Stalwart name embodies the finest traditions of the Royal Australian Navy, of alliances founded on values and history, of lending a hand to our Pacific mates in times of trouble, of excellence and endurance. That is the proud inheritance of all who will serve on this ship. Today, we open a new chapter in the history of the Stalwart. It is the second of two new supply class auxiliary oiler replenishment ships, and the importance of these supply ships cannot be underestimated or understated, because I see them as the glue that holds the missions together, the workhorses of the sea. Can I say I don't think we really acknowledge just how important our supply vessels are with our fleet. And can you imagine my joy when I learnt that the Stalwart will call my hometown of Geraldton her home port? And I do acknowledge that the Mayor for Geraldton, Shane's here today. Good to see you here, Shane. How excited are we about this beautiful vessel making its way to Geraldton, hopefully soon, the CN assures me. I know that calling Geraldton home will draw strength from the rich naval heritage of the city, and also the support from a formalised partnership with the local Yamaji people. These new supply ships are part of the largest regeneration of the Royal Australian Navy's capability since World War II. Stalwart's primary role will be to provide logistic replenishment to naval combat units whilst at sea. By sustaining the joint forces for long periods, Stalwart and her sister ship HMAS Supply will extend the Navy's endurance as it defends Australia's security, sovereignty and prosperity. Australia is a three-ocean nation that relies on maritime trade and lines of communications. The Indo-Pacific, our region, is now the centre of strategic competition. With regional security challenges increasing, it is more important than ever to have robust operational support for our maritime assets. HMAS Stalwart represents a generational shift in capability from her predecessors, and I think we can see that all on display here today. The ship is equipped with the state-of-the-art systems, enabling it to travel further, for longer, and contribute more effectively to operations together with our allies. To be Stalwart is to be resolute, determined and steadfast, to show unshakable courage in a noble cause. May this great Australian ship and all her crew be stalwart in their service. May they fly the Australian white ensign with pride. May they serve the Navy with distinction on the oceans where Australia's interests lie, and may they always return home safely. Thank you very much for being here. May I just acknowledge the families that have come along here today. What a great way to spend a Saturday morning. Thanks for being here. Thank you.
It gives me much pleasure to welcome the Commanding Officer of HMAS Stalwart, Commander McCracken, to address the parade.
Honourable Kim Beazley, AC, Governor of Western Australia. Minister for Defence Industry, the Honourable Melissa Price, MP. Assistant Minister for Defence, the Honourable Andrew Hastie, MP. Vice Admiral Michael Noonan, AO Chief of Navy and Mr Samantha Highway. Commodore Jonathan Earley, CSC, Deputy Fleet Commander. Commodore Stephanie Moles, Stalwart's ship sponsor. Mr Enric Tarasso, Spanish Honorary Consul. And Mr Trevor Wally, Noongar Elder. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to our commissioning. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians on the land and water which we meet today, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and recognise the strength, resilience and capacity of the Noongar people in this land. Thank you, Mr Wally. Today is a great day for the Navy. Commissioning a ship is a momentous occasion, particularly one this good. Today marks a significant milestone for Navantia, the ship's builder of the Supplier Class AOR, and underpins the growing relationship between the RAN and Navantia. Today is also a great day for Western Australia as it witnesses the commitment by Navy to the people of WA. But today we open another chapter of service to the people of Australia by a ship carrying the name Stalwart. The first chapter began over 100 years ago when Australia acquired the 6 S-class destroyers gifted from Britain. The first Stalwart commissioned on the 27th of January 1920 and served during the interwar period. The second chapter began on the 9th of March 1968 when the destroyer tender HMAS Stalwart 2, built at the Cocktail Island dockyard, was commissioned in Sydney. An escort maintenance ship, Stalwart increased the range and resilience of the fleet, enabling it to operate for extended periods away from home ports. Following 2 decades of service, Stalwart 2 decommissioned on the 9th of March 1990. Today we turn the page on the next chapter and look forward with pride and anticipation to writing the history of HMAS Stalwart 3. The ship's company you see before you are the initial custodians of Stalwart as we begin the journey that will last around 30 years for the ship. For her people, the commissioning crew of HMAS Stalwart, it will last the rest of our lives. Our journey began on the 11th of January 2021, when we came together as a ship's company. We have forged a positive team culture as the foundation of Stalwart in faithful service to the nation. Proudly, we carry the motto, Heart of Oak. It represents the strength of character from within that characterises the culture of this ship's company. With the literal meaning of the heartwood of the oak, the strongest wood from which ships of the line were made, our motto is about strength at the core. Strength of character, strength in adversity, strength to grow, strength to improve always. Today we get to share with you our Heart of Oak has achieved since we came together. When we formed as a crew, I challenged the ship's company to consider what legacy and how we would want to be remembered at our decommissioning. Our legacy is to make Stalwart the ship where everyone wants to serve, the ship no one wants to leave, and the ship remembered as the best posting of your career. This will be achieved through a simple philosophy of looking after our people, our team, and you, our family. As the song says, Heart of Oak are our ships, Heart of Oak are our crew. Hence, when we combine the motto and the legacy we will leave, we are confident that it is to glory we steer. We know a ship is not defined by steel, weapons or sensors. A ship is defined by her people, and they stand proudly before you today. Every Stalwart member is critical to the success of the ship and her ability to fight and win at sea. To the best we can and achieve the mission, we operate as one team, one family with one fight. We know we are strongest when we work as one team with character, excellence, resilience and teamwork at its core. This is our Heart of Oak, and we are Stalwart. Thank you.
Piping the side originated in the days of sail, when captains visiting one another at sea were hoisted on board in a net or basket if rough weather prevented the use of ladders. Piping was necessary in setting taut and hoisting away the cargo net or basket containing the boarding officer. Thus, we acquired the custom of piping the officer alongside and over the gangway. The use of the boatswain's call in English ships can be traced back with certainty to the days of the Crusade in AD 1248. The expression to pipe is the directive to make the sound on the boatswain's call and to give the spoken order that may qualify it. Some pipes, however, are orders themselves and do not require any verbal addition. Commander McCracken will now be piped on board to join his officers and ship's company for the first time.
HMAS Stalwart, ho!
HMAS Stalwart is now fully crewed, and to mark this significant chapter in the history of the Royal Australian Navy, the men and women before you would like to perform the very old customary method of greeting called cheer ship. I invite any person who cannot see the ship's company to move forward. Parade Commander.
Parade Commander, prepare the ship's company to cheer ship.
Aye, aye, sir. HMAS Stalwart, off caps!
HMAS Stalwart will cheer ship. 3 cheers for HMAS Stalwart. Hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. HMAS Stalwart.
HMAS Stalwart, on caps!
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please all stand if seated? And please make way as our guest of honour and special guests make their way to the refreshment marquee. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I ask our parade commander, Lieutenant Commander Warren, to dismiss the ship's company.
HMAS Stalwart, turning forward, dismiss!
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the commissioning ceremony of HMAS Stalwart. I invite you all to join us for refreshments and for the cutting of the commissioning cake, which will take place in approximately 20 minutes. On completion of cutting the commissioning cake, there will be an opportunity for you all to go on board HMAS Stalwart. I hope you have all enjoyed the commissioning ceremony of HMAS Stalwart. I thank you for your attendance and wish you a safe journey home. Thank you. day. What, mate? Good? Done all right? Excellent. Okay, I'll be the
It's on. One's prepared, one's prepared.
Hello everyone, I'm Sandra Shaman Burke. What a fantastic ceremony. Come with me and we'll meet some of the crew. Hello, Georgia.
Hello, how are you?
We're broadcasting live to Facebook.
Oh, wow.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, really good. It's nice to, it's been a long time coming. It's been a long year, but yeah, it's good to finally be on commissioning day. So it's a good feeling, definitely.
Fantastic. Can you tell us what your role is on Stalwart and what a normal everyday life would look like for you?
Yeah, so I'm a bosun's mate on board and I'm also the survival equipment maintainer, which means I take care of all of the life jackets and life rafts and safety equipment. So a lot of servicing of those to keep them in date and things like that, yeah.
What do you love best about being in the Navy?
I love the people and the friends you make. You're always meeting new people, definitely. So
What does it feel like to be actually working on a brand new ship?
it's pretty amazing. Definitely a privilege to be able to commission a ship. So it's lovely to, be on a brand Navy's newest ship.
Congratulations. Now, we have people watching all around Australia and around the world. Do you have a message for family and friends who are watching?
Yeah, family and friends back in Queensland. Hope you're doing well and hopefully I'll see you at Christmas. See you soon.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your special day.
Thank you.
I need to go off and tell Sandra. Okay. Microphone a bit closer. So just line up. Okay. I'm not ready yet. Okay. Wait, are you ready for me to go? Okay.
Hello, we have someone else very special to meet today. Joshua, how are you?
I'm good.
How are you feeling?
Excited. It's a great opportunity to be a bosun on board Stalwart. Part of my job role will be in amongst the replenishment machinery. So getting the stores and the ammunition and the fuel across to not only our ships, but our friends and allies that will pass through our waters to further their capability and maintain their course and keep them at sea for further and longer.
What drew you to Navy?
I did have my grandmother. She served in World War II as an army nurse, and that combined with a very marine upbringing brought me to the Navy. My dad was a deckhand in Gelton on the Brollis Islands, so I'm quite familiar with tying knots and the seamanship and being amongst the water. So
Lovely naval history. Now, an interesting fact about you is that you were born in Geraldton, and Geraldton is going to be Stalwart's home port.
yeah, it's very exciting to continue a relationship with Gelton, being a small coastal city with rich maritime industry, with the crayfishing and the pearling, partnered with a really intriguing maritime history about the Batavia and the Batavia wreck off the Brollis. So it's a good collaboration, and it's going to be really cool to go up and see my friends and family and bring them on board.
Okay, we have family and friends from all around Australia and the world watching this Facebook live feed. Do you have a message for people?
My message would be to go online and YouTube or Google image a replenishment at sea. It's something that the Navy does really well, and it's a really cool aspect of the Navy, and probably not as well advertised as it should be.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Enjoy your special day.
Okay.
Hello, we have someone special again to meet. Hello, Rachel.
Hi.
Tell me about your day. How has it been?
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy that we're finally commissioned. It's been a long time coming, but yeah, really, really excited.
Tell me what is so special about Stalwart.
I guess it's just because we've been preparing for the whole year and this day's finally come, and yeah, we get to go to sea soon. It's really, really exciting.
How excited is everyone today?
I think everyone's pretty excited. We're finally commissioned ship. Yeah, it's really good.
What drew you to Navy?
I've got a family background with Navy. My dad and my brother served in the Navy, so it's grown up with my whole life. So yeah, that's why I'm following in the footsteps.
What do you love best about being in the Navy?
The people, 100%, the lifelong friends you make. It's such a good job. It's such a rewarding career. Yeah, definitely.
We have people watching from all around Australia and around the world. Do you have a message for family and friends who are watching?
Just my brother who's in Canberra. Wish you could be here, but hope you're watching.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Enjoy your special day.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you,
ya.
Rachel.
I've got to let go a bit. Okay. Yep, okay. Yep.
Hello, and we have Dylan here to talk to us today. Dylan,
Hi.
how are you feeling?
Yeah, excited. Really proud. Happy today. Yeah.
Tell us about your role on Stalwart and what a normal day on the ship might look like.
Okay, my role in the Stalwart, HMAS Stalwart now. I'm a boatswain's mate. Look after the seamanship, boat evolutions and all that. Day-to-day basis, pretty much come to work, look after the ship's mates, go to my compartments, check if they're all clean, all that. But yeah, it's pretty easy right now and then.
So when you decided to join Navy, has your experience lived up to what you thought it was going to be?
Honestly, if I've been honest, not really. I've joined since 2018, June, July month. And honestly, from that day on, when I listed and signed those papers, didn't know what I was going to expect until to this moment, this very day. Is pretty much I'm really proud for what I've signed up for. Yeah, coming to work to my second family, you know, it's always like a smile on the face. So it's always good to be here.
Excellent. Is there a sense of relief that you've finally reached this day that the ship is actually now commissioned?
Oh yes, it's been a long journey when it was not commissioned at the start of this year. And the whole, not just myself, but the whole ship company worked so hard for today's day. So I'm not just proud of myself, but I'm proud of the CEO as well, and that's everyone else on board.
Seems like it was a very emotional ceremony.
It was today, so I'm really proud of myself too.
Should be. Okay, we have people watching all around Australia. Have you got a message for family and friends?
For family and friends, obviously, I send my condolences for the families that haven't been here today because of COVID-19. My family back in Cairns that unfortunately is not here today. Shout out to them because I love them every day and making them proud. Even to my little sister, she's in Darwin at the moment. Yeah, I love them all.
I'm sure they are very proud of you. Enjoy your special day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're off. They want someone else interview. Just now. I'm telling you now. Just
Laura,
Hi, how you going?
Tell me about your special day.
Oh, look, it's been amazing. To be part of a commissioning ship is just, it's something I didn't think I'd do in my career, and now that I have, sort of hoping that I can do it again at some stage. So, yeah, really, really happy.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What's your role on the ship?
So I'm actually the Human Resources Officer on board HMAS Stalwart. Sounds funny saying HMAS now, we're not new ship anymore.
Absolutely.
So more or less it's my role to make sure that we enhance the support that our personnel are given. And that's ensuring that members have got a true understanding of those services that are available to them.
Now, you've got some fun facts about Stalwart.
Some fun facts. You put me on the spot now. So I guess the first one is that the ship is longer than the MCG. So if you sort of think, wow, this ship would fit in the MCG, and also Optus Stadium. So not both of them lined up together, but just the one of the other stadiums.
That really gives people a perspective of the size.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the biggest ships I've served on. I've actually come from submarines, so a big change for me. It's pretty strange having such big living quarters, messes where you don't have to worry about bumping your head on things. So it's been an awesome change and one that I've really enjoyed. Yeah.
And I'm guessing most people wouldn't get the opportunity to work on a brand new ship.
No, not at all. So I feel very fortunate to be working on the Navy's newest capability. It comes with some little quirks and we're still figuring all of that out. And that's part of the fun, really. It's really nice to sort of adapt to those different things and start to sort of embrace the new capability that we have.
So can you tell us what a normal day might look like for people on Stalwart?
So a normal day for us, so we would generally do PT in the morning, so we like to stay active. It's one of the best things about this ship. Our commanding officer is so big on staying active and doing a lot of PT. And then from there, we'll start our normal working day, do our daily tasks, whatever that might look like. We've always got cleaning stations, so we've got to make sure this ship is spick and span. And as you can see, it's a pretty big platform, so that takes a lot of effort and work. But it's something we really enjoy doing. We have a lot of pride in the ship that we have. And then, one day we could be doing boat operations. The next, we could be practicing for sort of firefighting evolutions. We're just going to make sure that we're overall ready with everything that we're doing.
So now that you are commissioned, what will the next few weeks look like?
So the next few weeks, we need to make sure that we're safe to go to sea as a ship's company. So we're working all those sort of safety elements, and that sort of ties back into the firefighting that I was talking about, and making sure that as a crew, we've got that cohesion and we really understand what our aim is once we get out to sea and we can do it safely.
So what does a supply ship actually mean?
So a supply ship, I guess in the name, we are supplying something to other ships, but one of our most important capabilities is our RAS rig. So our ability to refuel ships, not just from our nation, but from other nations as well, means that our ships can go further for longer. And that's a really important aspect of the capability that the ship provides.
Great. Lovely. Well, it's been a wonderful morning. How do you think, what will the crew be doing and how will they spend the rest of their day?
Look, I hope the crew, I imagine a lot of them are going to be spending time with family. I've got my family here. And for those families that are watching, on the Facebook Live or YouTube, we'd love to get you on board throughout the next sort of 12 to 18 months. Hopefully we'll get away and pull to some different ports and we'll have the opportunity to do that. So yeah, definitely hang out with the family for sure.
Now, there is a tradition with the cake that the first piece of the cake goes to the oldest member.
Yes, that's correct. That's not me. So I'll have to hang around for probably another 20, 30 years to get that piece of cake. But yeah, absolutely. And the youngest person generally cuts the cake as well. So
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Enjoy a special day.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
Thank you. Now we have a couple of more special guests that we're going to have a chat to.
Can I take a break? Can I take a break? Thanks. Thank you. Okay. Ah, it's so sweaty.
And welcome to our special guest, Chief of Navy, Vice Admiral Michael Noonan. What a special, special day.
Absolutely. For me personally, today represents not just the commissioning of HMAS Stalwart, a magnificent ship under the command of Steve McCracken, but the very first ship that I stepped on board as a young man, in fact, not even a young man, at about 12 years of age. Stalwart 2 was in Brisbane in around about 1981, and I had the privilege to step on board that ship and meet with a family friend who was a leading seaman on board at the time. And just standing on a Navy ship for the first time of this sort of size and this importance made a lasting impression on me. So I was determined to be here today with Steve and his team for the commissioning of Stalwart 3, notwithstanding the fact that I've just endured 2 weeks of hotel quarantine to be here in Western Australia, but I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Fantastic. Now, Geraldton will be the home port for Stalwart. What does that mean in terms of strategic capability that the ship will have its home port here in Western Australia?
Well, I think in terms of the strategic importance of the way that we've got the disposition of the fleet, our two ocean basing now, which has been something that's been a cornerstone of our strategic policy for many years, now really comes to life in terms of having this magnificent ship as its home port here in the west and obviously in Geraldton, but having a ship with a capability that can refuel any of the ships in our Navy and also the ships of our partners and allies in the region is hugely significant. Notwithstanding the capabilities of Sirius and Westralia before her, Stalwart is a step up again in terms of the capability that it offers. And it gives me great confidence in terms of what our Navy can do in the Indian Ocean in the years to come.
Now, as we know, a lot of family and friends couldn't be here today. And we have people watching all around Australia and, in fact, the world, watching our Facebook live stream. What's your message to family and friends who couldn't be here today?
Hi, everyone. That's my first message. Secondly, look, I'm really delighted that you've been able to join us via our Facebook link. It's really fantastic that you can join us. And I think we've probably got more people at this commissioning than we've probably had at any other commissioning as a result of the fact that we can now use technology and be streamed around the world. Clearly, there's a lot of people from the eastern states and from overseas who would have been here with us today, but sadly, we've had to endure the effects of the COVID-19 travel restrictions. But I'm pleased to say that things are starting to open up nationally, and I'm sure that in the months and years to come, there will be many, many visitors to this magnificent ship.
Thank you very much. Commander McCracken, congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Tell us how you're feeling.
A little bit of relief, humble, overjoyed, thrilled, bursting with pride, all of the above.
Excellent. Tell us about your crew. What makes them so special?
Well, they're Stalwart. Do I have to say anything more? No. Look, they're fantastic. They've been working so hard for so long now to get us to this stage. And I'm just thrilled that we've had such a good day for the commissioning and that it's gone so well. They should be really proud of themselves. I'm proud of them. And I hope that their families are as well, particularly those watching, but also those that have been able to make it today, because it's also their day as well as the ship's company. But I couldn't ask for more.
How special is it that Geraldton will be the home port for Stalwart?
Yeah, it's excellent. We had a bit of a hand in that, and the fact that we can keep the ceremonial home port in WA, I think, is another bonus. And I've just been speaking to the Mayor before about trying to get the ship up there and when that might be. So we're really excited to be able to get the ship up there and go and visit as soon as we can. And because it's close enough, we can actually get people up there, not necessarily the ship all the time. So we can get people up there and go and say hello and interact and be part of the Geraldton community as well. Can't wait.
All right, now that you are commissioned, what do the next months look like?
More hard work. So we've got a couple of weeks before we head to sea for the first time, which is going to be amazing. Can't wait for that. A few weeks at sea and then a chance for the ship's company to have a break over the Christmas New Year period and hopefully get back home if they haven't seen their family and friends, which I'm definitely looking forward to doing. Can't wait to see my family. Hello to my family, everyone back home, Michelle, Mitchell, Thomas, Dad, everyone else that's watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all your support. It's awesome. Couldn't do it without you.
And do you have a message to the families of your crew?
Oh, thanks. I can't say anything more, but thanks. Thanks for your support. Thanks for being there all the time. I have 4 tenants on the ship. One is fun, family, teamwork, and professionalism. They're all here today, and hopefully we've given a little bit back to the family that have supported us so well throughout the time. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Chief of Navy and Commander, thank you so much. We'll let you now go and finish the day with the cutting of the cake.
Thank you. Thanks very much. All the best.
Thank you. Excellent. Righto. Let's get a cut your cake there, Steve.
So much.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could just grab your attention for a few more seconds. The cutting of the commissioning cake will take place shortly in the vicinity of the refreshment marquee. I invite you all to make your way there, where the cake will be cut by the Governor of Western Australia, Commanding Officer of HMAS Stalwart, Commander McCracken, and Seaman Tyson Lewis.
This way, ready? 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Yeah, go ahead. 1, 2.
And with the cutting of the cake, that brings an end to our coverage of the commissioning of HMAS Stalwart, I beg your pardon. What a beautiful, emotional day, a proud crew,